welcome everyone to our first virtual open event. We would rather have you through the door and see you in person, but needs must. So I have mentioned before, your microphone and your webcam will be switched off for the duration of the event. So this is just to prevent interruption throughout the session. However, you can use the chat facility at the bottom if you have got any questions that you might want to ask. So applications for September are still open. So if you haven't applied yet, you can still do so. There's still plenty of time to make that application. If you have applied but haven't had an interview yet, whether that's been by face-to-face or by phone, you should be receiving a call shortly off one of the course tutors. And that will be done before the end of next week. If you haven't heard from us before the end of next week, do get in contact with us via our admissions email address. And that'll be on the last slide as we go through the presentation. So I just wanted to highlight briefly the other course areas that we do offer at college. So although you may have made your mind up already, we have got a wide variety of courses and nothing set in stone. So if you are thinking of maybe 2 courses, or if you want to change your mind, you can still do so. Okay, so just to run through a couple of the benefits of studying at St Helens College. So we offer every student a free breakfast in the morning, and that's if you're in before 9:15. You also get a free college bus pass or access to our college buses that we run. Free Microsoft Office 365 package, which is available for you to download onto your laptops at home, and that helps with your projects and your coursework and things like that. Student discounts, which you can apply for via the NUS, and then depending on your individual circumstances, you could be entitled to bursaries to help with things like kit and equipment, trips, and free college lunches. We have a dedicated safeguarding and wellbeing team at college, and they help with everything from if you've got any sort of mental health issues, if you've had any bereavements in the family, right down to if you need someone to speak to if you're just having a bad day. As well as that, we also have a dedicated learner support team. So if you have got any sort of learning difficulties or disabilities, they're in place to help you overcome any barriers to learning. So as long as we're aware of that, we can try and put support in place for you to try and help you with your learning. And then finally, if you're not doing so already, make sure you do follow us on social media, and that's where you'll get all the latest information about the college and the goings on at college. As I said before, if you've not heard from your course tutor before the end of next week, make sure you do email the admissions email address, and it could just be that we've got a wrong mobile number for you or something like that and they haven't been able to contact you. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and pass over to Ant, who will take you through the course specific elements. Over to you, Ant.
Am I on?
Yeah.
I'm on. Right. Hi, I'm Ant Files. I am part of the music technology team at St Helens College. I also teach at Knowsley as well. I'm going to share my screen just to tell you about the music tech offer at St Helens College. Okay, should be sharing now. Am I on?
You're on, yeah.
Okie dokie. All right, so music technology. We sort of do a couple of different things. We'd also do music performance, which is coming up a little bit later this afternoon. One of my colleagues, Gordon, will be going through the specifics of that. I'll talk a little bit about music performance as I go through this presentation, but just a little bit about me. So why am I sort of qualified to teach you about music technology things? So I've been in the industry for about 25 years. Yes, I'm ancient. And I've mostly since 2007 toured nationally around the UK with my band, the Lancashire Hot Pots. We had a #1 album on iTunes in 2007 for our debut album, Nevermind the Hot Pots. We've released, I think, 11 albums since then. So very sort of experienced in sort of releasing albums and the way we've got to do that in the modern age. Don't necessarily need a record label to kind of do that now. You can do it all yourself. We've done that quite extensively over the years, so can help you plan for your own releases. 2008, we toured with Paddy McGuinness, who was most famous for being in Phoenix Nights and working with Peter Kay at the time. Since then, he's become a top-class, top-gear presenter. We went on tour with him in 2008. We did about 20 dates with him around the country. Had a great time with him. He's a top fella. So played live extensively throughout the UK, including just last year, just Christmas just gone, we were on the Zoe Ball breakfast show on Radio 2 at Christmas. Had to get up unbelievably early to sort of get on their breakfast show. The earliest sound check ever at 5 o'clock in the morning. Not pretty at that time, I tell you. Played Glastonbury Festival. Glastonbury Festival has just been on the telly all weekend. Seeing lots of people sort of swilling around in the mud brings back memories, good and bad, of playing the festival, but also working tremendously hard. It's not all glamour. We've also played other sort of various festivals, including Chris Evans' Carfest, Kendall Calling, and Why Not Festival. There's a couple of pictures of me looking ridiculous, wearing ridiculous things, playing bass guitar in front of a lot of people. Anyway, that's enough about me. So our programs, all right, are now called study program, which means it's you'll come to college and you'll do several different bits. Mainly, the bullet points there, the top one is your main vocationally related qualification, which in this case will be music technology. That'll take up the bulk of your week. You also do maths and English if you don't hold a grade 4 in English and maths when you enrol. I know the GCSEs this year, there'll be, I don't know, some things that still yet need to be decided. It's been a very strange sort of year in regards to English and Maths GCSE. But all that's kind of, hopefully that will be sort of become clearer as we kind of go through the next sort of weeks and months. When we come to enrolment, we'll have a crystal clear, plan of what to do with English and Maths students when they come. And also, as well as that, we'll have sort of personal tutorials and skills development sessions for, when it comes to sort of being a student and sort of doing the student life. It's not only concentrating on your, your sort of music technology kind of skills. It's also skills as, sort of administration skills, being able to sort of keep track of your achievements, being able to sort of keep your grades, your attendance. But we'll also look at sort of topics which affect us, health and hygiene, sort of health and safety sort of things, healthy eating, all this kind of stuff, which, for an example, if you're on tour, how do you keep yourself fit and healthy? Are you going in a pizza place before every gig, or are you sort of thinking about what you eat and all that kind of stuff? We'll kind of think about those issues as well. All right, so the different courses that we offer different sort of levels of courses. At level 2, we offer a certificate in music. That's a 1-year course. Level 3, we offer a 1-year foundation diploma in music technology. That's 12 months. And then after that, you get the opportunity to top that up to a level 3 extended diploma in music technology, which is year 2. If you're sort of leaving school now and come in to do, a course at the college, you possibly won't be able to sort of take up the extended diploma straight away. Usually that's just year 2 students topping up from the first year. Also, we have got equivalent sort of foundation and extended diplomas in music performance also available. And as I say, Gordon Pemberton, who's my colleague, who runs that sort of side of things, there are sort of 2 different sort of strains to this. There's the technology side, where we sort of deal with production, working in studios, working with software, that kind of thing. And there's also music performance, which sort of deals with, playing in instruments in ensembles, rehearsal techniques, vocals, guitars, all that kind of stuff. All right, so it's kind of up to you to kind of which kind of stream that's most appropriate to you and which, you want to sort of follow with us. All right, so entry requirements. All right, so what grade do you need to sort of come to us with? For the level 2 certificate, it's 2 GCSEs at grade 4, which in old money is the equivalent to grade C, and 2 GCSEs at grade 3, all right, the equivalent to grade Ds. All right, other sort of level 1 qualifications, whether they're BTECs or, you know, other sort of valid qualifications will also be considered, not just GCSEs. For the level 3 foundation diploma, it's 5 GCSEs at grade 4, and the equivalent to the grade C. Grade 4 or above, including English or maths. We used to ask for English and maths, but we've kind of reduced that a little bit. So it's 5 GCSEs, all above grade 4, or at or a grade 4, including one of English language, English literature, or mathematics. And for the year 2, all right, which you can't sort of apply for straight away, we kind of ask for the sort of year 1 students who study with us for a year, doing the foundation diploma. You complete with a merit, and that gives you sort of automatic consideration to do year 2. You don't have to do year 2 at that point, all right? With us, you could do a year 2 or a year 1 with another course. You do actually, after 1 year, get a rounded off qualification that you can then kind of switch. Or you can, as a lot of students do, top up to year 2 and stay with us for another 12 months. So what about GCSEs? So GCSE resits, as mentioned before, the college is committed to help you continue maths and English skills if you've not sort of got your grade 4 in school. You'll sort of be involved with doing several sessions a week with dedicated English and maths tutors to study GCSE curriculum and to take resits with us under exam conditions. I think we do November resits. Again, with the sort of you know, the recent sort of turmoil with GCSEs, that might change. I don't think they've released full details of that yet. But any sort of classes that you do undertake, they are mandatory. You do have to go to them as part of your study program, and we expect 100% attendance is expected. If you kind of, if you're not going to those sessions, we'll get to know about it and we'll be asking questions. Okay, so the fun stuff then. Music technology, what's involved? So these are examples of units that we sort of study at level 2 and level 3. They might have different names at level 2 and level 3, but this is a broad kind of overview of the type of stuff that you'll be doing with us in music technology. So one of the things you'll be looking at is recording studio techniques or studio recordings. We've got a couple of pictures there of our students hard at work in our recording studio at St Helens. And there's sort of 2 rooms on display there. The top one is what we call the recording room. And you can see the students, what they're doing, they're busily kind of setting up microphones around a drum kit. So that room is where we sort of set up instruments like drum kits. We set up guitar amplifiers. If you're a singer, if you're a vocalist, that's where you'll sort of do your singing. And all those sort of students kind of learn about the techniques, not only what types of microphones to kind of use for different applications. You know, if you have a look at that drum kit there are cymbals, there are big drums, there are small drums. Each one of those instruments needs to be given different kind of attention with the equipment that we use. So not only that, but also where to position all those microphones in relation to each other. So we learn about those techniques. And all those sort of microphones then fed into the control room, which is the bottom picture. You see our students sort of sat around at a mixing desk. We've got computer software, we've got speakers. Just on the left, there was a rack of what we call outboard equipment, which we all sort of learn how to use. And it's very much a sort of team-natured sort of learning experience, you know, not kind of getting in each other's way, but helping each other to kind of suss out all the gear that's in those 2 rooms. And we spend all year kind of learning different techniques for different sort of instruments. And it's not only that, it's also a little bit about the psychology of working in recording studios. What you're trying to do with people, with artists, is you're trying to get the best performance out of them. If you're a producer, you know, you're trying to make people feel comfortable. If you're in a, if you're in a room on your own with a guitar, an acoustic guitar, and you're feeling, kind of nervous about things, it's a producer's job to kind of make the performer feel at ease. So we deal with that a little bit. All right, we also look at music sequencing, which is slightly different. There are some transferable skills over from, from working in the studio to working in front of a computer. This is where we provide a computer for every sort of student, running software. We've got a variety of different software. We've got Cubase, we've got Logic, and you'll sit in front of these computers. You'll have a pair of headphones on. There'll be a sort of MIDI keyboard, as you can see in that picture there, and you'll learn the skills on how to input and create music using computers. Computers are very much involved with modern music production, not just in the studio, but sort of for solo performances in the live field, live sector and all that kind of thing. There's transferable skills all around. So that's an important part of what we do in music tech. We'll also look at music business. All right, this is one of the drier sort of units. It's not as practical, but in my eyes, tremendously important. I've sort of spent 25 years working in the industry, and I know exactly what it takes to kind of, to have an awareness of what the business is, what the industry does, what a record label is, what are the different parts of the record label, how does music get distributed, how do you get your CD in the shops, do you need a CD in the shops, who gets paid, how does anybody get paid in this business? That's the important thing is doing all the fun stuff of being able to create music and be a musician, but also you'll need a business sense to be able to, be self-employed, to work out things like tax. How do you get paid? How do you kind of show the tax office, how much you've been paid? All this is necessary stuff. It might not seem the fun stuff, but in part of being a musician in the modern day, it's definitely essential. I sort of teach the business units. I try and make it fun. I bounce around and kind of make it fun. It's not the driest of things, but, I think it's absolutely essential. And also we look at sort of the live sector, so music technology and live events. What is exactly the technology involved with putting on a gig? We put on performances. As I say, we've got performance students, we've got technology students. We collaborate together. So the performance students have, they do the gigs, and the technology students sort of do the engineering and putting all that kind of thing. If you've watched any sort of gigs, if you've actually been to gigs or you've seen them on the television, you'll see there's an array of technology on those stages. And not only the people who are playing the instruments are important, but the people who are off to the side of the stage and behind the stage and under the stage and even not on the stage, and who've sort of been there perhaps hours and hours and hours and hours, in fact, sometimes days before sort of musicians even arrive at these venues. Particularly festivals. You'll see the Glastonbury Festival, that'll sort of go on over Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, but there have been people on site setting up equipment for all that kind of thing for weeks and weeks and weeks. All right, so we look at the kind of procedures and roles and responsibilities and working as a team involved with sort of music tech and live events. All right, so it all sounds fun, but there's work to do. So what type of work do we do? How are we going to assess you? So top of the list there, of course, there are written essays. You can't sort of get away from, doing writing, sat in front of a computer. We use something called Microsoft Onenote, which means that it's a little bit an online word processor where you can sort of do the assignments. You can do it in the cloud, as it were, so you don't need to sort of save a file onto a computer. It sort of saves in the cloud. We can sort of get at it anytime we want. You can get at it from home. As Lisa mentioned, you get a Microsoft 365 account, so you can get all this equipment and software at home on devices, on phones, on tablets, all that kind of thing. We do task analysis, which means that instead of you sort of perhaps writing about microphones, which you'll have to do as well, in order to get you to sort of assess how good you are using them, we'll get you to use them, and we'll kind of record you using them in the studio as evidence. You'll do presentations, kind of like what I'm doing now. you know, you might not think, well, I'm a musician and I won't need to do presentations. But what if, you know, you're somebody who wants to start a recording studio, and in order to start a recording studio in your local area, you might need some equipment, and to buy that equipment, you might need a loan from the bank. And in order to do that, you'll need to put it together a little sort of business presentation to kind of pitch to the bank in a kind of Dragon's Den kind of way, in order to get the money, the loan, to sort of buy the equipment and the space and all that kind of thing. Sometimes we'll do recorded interviews, i.e. we might have a chat about the way record labels work, and we'll sort of record that, and that can be used as assessments. As well as that, you'll be doing portfolios, which means that you'll kind of be building up a set of tracks. For one of the units last year, composing music, you had to start off with a short sort of like little piece, and then develop that piece into a bigger piece, and then a finished piece. And all those sort of little incremental versions of that song are all kind of part of the assessments. So you'll be doing, you know, making music, sometimes on your own, sometimes with other people. It'll all be recorded. And of course, there'll be performances. Even though we are sort of music technology based, within live performance, there is technology that can be used. If you've watched any of the sort of Glastonbury footage, you know, I watched lots of it this weekend. There are bands there that have sort of got musicians performing, but usually there'll be a laptop or, you know, some other kind of technology off stage, providing backing tracks and loops and that kind of thing, processing effects. So we kind of look at all that kind of stuff as well. A little bit of word about the equipment that you're going to need. Not much, because we provide pretty much everything, the studios and the computers, but we do actually sort of have a pair of headphones. And the type of headphones that have got a wire on. I know there are a lot of sort of Bluetooth headphones now and AirPods and that kind of thing. But just to be on the safe side, you'll need something that can physically plug into a headphone jack on a computer. So if you've not got a pair of headphones, you can sort of ask Father Christmas for one on your Christmas list, and a USB stick. They do come in useful. As I say, a lot of the work that we do is in the cloud. You'll have a Microsoft OneDrive, all that kind of stuff. But a USB stick does kind of help when you're transferring projects from perhaps machines in the computer rooms to machines in the studio. So just those two bits of equipment. We do have guest speakers, and we do go on trips. Guest speakers we've had in the past. The two guys that you can see at the bottom there, the guy on the left is Donovan. He is an ex-student, so he's kind of started a journey with us many years ago, and sort of left us, went to Manchester, got involved with the Manchester live sector, and now works heavily with the Warehouse project as a live sound engineer. He's the guy that kind of stands behind the desk and sort of mixes the bands. He's been all over the world. He goes to ski festivals. He's been to South America. He's been all over Europe. And he started with us. Excuse me. The guy on the right is Josh Butler. He's an internationally famous superstar DJ. He was featured in, I think it was Mix Mag or DJ Mag last year as the top 10, one of the top 10 newest DJs. Has a very, very healthy career. Travels literally all over the world. The guy has 2 passports. He's that busy. He's one of our ex-students also. Started off on level 2 and came through and went to Leeds University, got well connected, got a record deal from there, and hasn't looked back since. He literally is a globe trotter. We've been to the Echo Arena in the past. The sort of top left photo there, we went to the Echo Arena to watch the War of the Worlds production sort of being constructed in an arena. That was a really sort of good eye-opener. And a number of years ago, we went to Abbey Road Studios with a group of students. We went on a London trip, Buzzing Performing Arts, and that was went all the way to London on a coach. Oh no, it was a train, and we got to go to Abbey Road Studios and walk across that famous zebra crossing and all that kind of thing. So we'll be looking to sort of putting in trips, as I say, with the current sort of, you know, government guidelines, with our industry sort of being under difficult conditions at the moment. It's, you know, it's hard to say where we'll be able to be allowed to go and in what kind of circumstances. We'll be kind of,
You're just starting to break up a little bit there, and
getting us out and about and bringing these people in to kind of that journey to give you. Anyone's any questions? I think we've got a chat in the. Have we got a chat, Lisa?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, so you were starting to break up slightly then, but it was okay.
I'm back.
You're back.
Okay, cool.
Right. Let's see. So we've got no questions as of yet. If you just press stop sharing your screen just for a second.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So no questions as of yet. So we'll just give everyone just a minute or two. If they've got any questions, just pop them in the chat, just using the button at the bottom. And then if not, we'll end the session. That was really, really interesting.
Okay, and of course, using the sort of social media and that kind of thing, if you think of things that you wanted to ask or have not been able to ask, just get in touch and that'll find its way to either me or my colleagues and we'll kind of answer you as quick as possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. Question: how long are the college days?
We're just putting together the timetable now. We try and sort of group everything together. So if you're on level 2 or if you're on level 3, we kind of it's usually about 3 days a week, and sort of college days start from, well, in the past they have started from 9 a.m. to 4:30. Again, there could be sort of staggered start times depending on what is decided for sort of returning in September, but it'll be something around that, sort of 9 till 4:30, maybe a little bit later depending on what.
As we get towards enrolment, I think timetables might be a little bit firmer, so we'll be able to give you more information around that, I think, nearer the time. Any other questions coming through before we end today? No, I think that'll be it. Right. Thank you very much, Ant. Right. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.